Hello, beach friends. This is a variable coquina. Why are they called variable? Well, it's because this species of tiny clam comes in a rainbow of different colors. And fun fact, they only live about a year. And we will talk more about coquinas as the video goes on, but I really wanted to find something different than what I normally find. So I went somewhere different. Today I went over to Bowditch. Now there's some weather in the area. We'll talk about that. I wanted to show you kind of like the lush part of this park, but apparently they have not recovered from Milton. I have to assume this is from Milton. They kind of repaired. This is what it looked like before Ian. This was a really beautiful park. You can see it's very lush. It's got buildings and restrooms and showers, and it was really, really nice. And that is not the way it looks now. Yeah, I still got a little bit of recovery to do actually on the entire island, and it is what it is. But we are going to comb Bowditch. Now, I was here last April, and by the last April, I do mean April 2024. And in my opinion, there was enough to at least pique my interest and get me to come back here. Today, I am hoping for tinies, and if I get really, really lucky, maybe a wentletrap or two. Summer shelling is completely different than winter shelling, and I'm actually going to talk to you about that a little bit in the video. I'll demonstrate, I'm going to explain why that is so. And this is a little bit of a bummer. I got here. All right, there's shells here. So we had talked quickly, or I had mentioned the variable coquina, and they are really, really beautiful. And they do come in a rainbow of colors. And they are a really important food source for a lot of the critters here. So not entirely surprising to find empty ones. They're quite yummy to a lot of critters. Now today we are going to find a couple of teeny tiny shells. We'll say hi to a couple of live things as well. And of course, any of the other seashells I find along the way, I will be showing you those. Check this guy out. It's alive. We're going to see that. And spoiler, I find at least one wentletrap. So if you're ready to see what all Bowditch is willing to give up today, let's go to the beach. Summer in Florida. You got some rain out in the distance and it is hot. Take a look at this. Humidity will make it feel like 104. So yeah, that sounds about right. It is summer, it is Florida. Oh, and there is a ruddy turnstone. And we are here to see what all Bowditch might be willing to give up. All right, at least it's not a coquina. We have a spiny jewel box. This is not a fantastic example. Like, it's fine. It's okay. It does not have purple on the inside. But that is what that shell is. That is a spiny jewel box. Yeah, lots of those variable coquinas. I dropped one. Uh-oh. Not like there's any shortage of them here, that's for sure. So, yep. So far, lots and lots of coquinas. If you were looking for coquinas, head over to Bowditch. They had plenty of them. Now, when the clam is alive and those two shells are actually closed, it's kind of got a wedge shape, and that does help that animal bury itself. Here is a little scavenger. This is a bruised NASA, and it is alive. I zoomed in there, kind of I love to film the critters. These critters are really, really small. Yeah, I can't really see all that much going on. All right, so that was a little bruised NASA. Let's see what else is going on. So I had mentioned earlier, I'm on the north end of Bowditch. So we do see some rain out there. Yeah, and there's really impressive clouds, and I hear some rumblings. But my car is pretty close. That's one of the reasons I specifically came here. I wanted to check the radar real quick. Yeah, that's me, the blue dot. And that's that weather that I hear. And it's far enough away. I have apps and I have other things that I keep an eye on it. So I should be okay. And if need be, I will run over to my car in the parking lot. But I didn't want to miss the low tide today. So Bowditch it is. There's a couple of storms out there, and that's Lighthouse Park straight across the Gulf Bay. Straight across the water there is Sanibel. Now I was hoping for tinies. Oh, it's just crushed shells. All right, here's a little kitten paw, a little discolored kitten paw. Looks like it was glued to something, yeah. But there's not even tinies, at least in this area. Okay, all right, not here. I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to comb the entire point here and to see what all is here. Okay, I found one of those dwarf olives. I do like them. I tend to find them when I'm looking for wentletraps, but right now I'm looking for anything. So I got that dwarf olive, but check this out. There's some other like ridiculously tiny. I don't know what it is. Look at that. That's a little seashell. So I'm not sure if that is just a juvenile something or if that is just a little, because there are certain like micro shells, like shells that only get so big. That's another little, I can't tell. Maybe that's even broken. I don't know. But just neat. Little itty bitty tiny shells. And then of course there's a little coquina. We'll just leave that. Okay. Oh, here we have a Sinistrofulgur sinistrum. And it's likely alive. But it would be terrible. I have been caught where, so I know the animal's on the left. I know that the animal, the shell opens on the left side. So I'm going to go over here so I can kind of try to see that critter. And yeah, the camera can see it. It took me a second. It took me a second to see if that was alive. So I'm going to leave that fine critter. I mean, I figured it probably was, but there has been times where I thought it was a critter and it ended up being a seashell. So I'd like to kind of check if it's not completely obvious. Otherwise, I leave the critter alone. All right, more coquinas. Oh, nacre. All right, so this is like mother of pearl that comes from pen shells. And I have a brand new appreciation. And I think I'm starting to actually see different quality of this nacre. Sometimes the nacre is really pretty. Oh yeah, a piece. This is like, it's a piece of lightning wilk. And that's what that is. That is just a piece. Now, why is it so much harder to find shells in the summer? Well, let's talk about that with a little bit of help from this graphic from the SWFL Shell Museum. Now, there are billions of living shells offshore along Florida's 80-mile-wide continental shelf. A small fraction of these shells make it to our shores, particularly after storms. Now, here's another shot of Google Earth showing you this continental shelf. Anyway, in the summer, we tend to get southerly breezes and the gentle surface currents pile up against the beach and the extra water retreats in the form of bottom currents, thus taking beach shells and sand back out to sea. On rare occasions, violent summer thunderstorms from the north can reverse this cycle. Now, in the winter, the cold winds from the north or the northwest blow across the islands and push the surface waters away from the land, creating bottom currents that are set up in the direction of the land. So the shells are pushed onto the beach, thus making it easier to find them. So while today I did come at low tide, it's still going to be a challenge, not only because of the winds, but just Bowditch is being a little stingy. Here's an auger. So I don't know that I can really blame the beach. There's plenty of coquinas, though. Plenty of coquinas. Oh, here is a little piece of decorator worm. So that little tubey kind of looking thing, that is a piece of a worm. And those worms decorate themselves, hence the term decorator worm. They're really kind of creepy looking. I've never seen a live one. I've seen drawings of them. They look frightening. Oh, look. A Phyllonotus pomum. Or an apple murex. Fantastic, especially for today. Oh, that's awesome. So a gorgeous apple murex. Okay, I do like a good broad-ribbed cardita, especially you have like little bumps on the ribs. Yep, gorgeous. You should call that like an abacus shell, but that is a broad-ribbed cardita. Yeah, that's a channeled surf clam. A little scary face on it. I know, today is a little scary. So that's a channel duck clam. Let me get that. Wait, garbage. Yeah. Get that off the beach. Yeah, in the background, I'm picking up any little pieces of garbage. We'll weigh that at the very end of the video. Ooh, this is starting to look a little wentletrappy. So anytime I kind of see these conditions, kind of like coffee grounds. What do we got? That's a seraph. It's a dark seraph. Lots of coquinas. All right, so I have found wentletraps here in the past, so I'm probably going to start trying to look for them in earnest. Look at this. Oh, that's a little limpet. Oh, that's terrific. Shoot, I'm happy to find anything, but actually a limpet, that's really a great kind of find. Not very common. Likely a cayenne keyhole limpet. Very cool. Oh, this is actually a rose petal tellin. Yep, they come in white also, in addition to pink. And not entirely surprising because, let's see, that's the causeway over there. And then I'd mentioned that Sanibel over there. So where Bowditch is kind of situated, so here we are. So this is me, this is Bowditch. This is Bunch Beach right here. So it seems like we would find some similar things. And then this right here, that's Sanibel Lighthouse. So it seems that at these beaches, you would kind of find the same type of specimens. So I had really, really good luck with the wentletraps over on Sanibel not too long ago. And I'm kind of hoping, like, fingers crossed, I'll find something over here today. All right, that is a very beat up nutmeg. Yeah. You know, theoretically, I mean, it's broken, so it probably would be a deal breaker for me, but you can keep that, put it in bleach, and kind of get rid of that stuff on it. All just kind of depends, but yeah, I can see rain out there too, but so I hear it, and I'm keeping an eye on my phone. What is this? It is a critter. Yeah, so that little orange piece, and this was a weird, the critter was coming out. So it's not a hermit crab or anything. That is actually the snail. You can see the little operculum. So there's that little brown, like, thing on that moving gray mass, and that's the operculum. That little moving gray mass thing, that's the critter. And I can't make heads or tails. Well, frankly, it doesn't have a tail. But nope, I can't quite tell. Well, you were friendly enough to come out and say hi. Thank you so much. I mean, I really would have liked your shell, but clearly you are still using it. There you go, critter. Okay. So low tide, we saw that lightning whelk, we saw that little critter. Actually, I know we're going to see some other critters. Yep, there's some of that garbage I mentioned. So we are definitely going to find a couple more critters. Oh, this is looking very wentletrappy. All right, actually, it looks like it might have dissipated, that storm. Yeah, it's kind of breaking up. It's not quite as angry as it was earlier. And I'm really lucky that this particular beach, I got good Wi-Fi. Some of the other islands, I struggle. But I can still at least kind of keep, like I said, keep myself safe. And guess what? Ta-da! I found a wentletrap. Yeah, it was not easy, these conditions, and I'll show you it. I do find at least one other one, but man, it was not giving them up easy. And so I was hunting. It takes a while, and I couldn't tell if either this is just way too much wave action for me, like it's really, really hard to find them when the conditions are like this, or if there's just not shells here. I haven't quite determined that yet. So I'm gonna be looking for those wentletraps. And this was curious. It was just a wad of seaweed, obviously, with coquinas. They appear to be alive. Why? And I looked it up and I have no idea. No idea. I do sometimes find the empty ones with like a little bit of seaweed on it. I don't know why they do that. So a clump of seaweed and coquinas. Excellent. Not a wentletrap. Just wanted to make that clear. Oh, but you know what? So so miss and a miss and a miss. Okay, so I hope you can see it. Yeah, I think that might have been a blind scoop. There it is. Okay, there it is. There it's. All right, did I get it? No. Oh, I swear it's running from me, and I'm not giving up. No, that's not it. That's not it. Aha! You gotta be a little more decisive, I guess, but Finally. All right, so got the wentletrap. It is broken. The aperture is not intact. That is okay. That was really kind of fun. Yeah, I'm glad I at least came up victorious. I was not leaving without that wentletrap. Was not leaving. Now check this out. I don't know that I've ever seen a sand dollar broken like this. Look this. So it's a creature. So this is alive. Look at that. And it, now I wouldn't say repaired itself, but it did grow cilia on the broken part of its chest or of its body. Look at that. Wow. So pretty resilient. They are a member of the urchin family. So there you go, little buddy. All right, and I do see some other ones. So there'll be like little like flashes of dark. Yep, that's a live one. There's a couple of them. And again, the low tide will do that. Not sure what I was looking at there. Maybe I heard a rumbling or something. Up there's another one. Yep, so we definitely have some live sand dollars here. Is this alive? Yes, yes it is. It's actually really easy to tell them. I know a lot of people kind of flip out when you see the dark, and that's, I don't mind because they're just trying to protect animals, and I'm always on board with that. Can you see, did you see a little bit of that? I will see these piles of sand, and it's from worms. They eat and excrete. Yep, sand. Yep, yep. That's what that is. But I've never actually seen it, the little piles being produced, so. Yeah, not too many other beachcombers out right now. There is a little patch of the beach that I wanted to make my way up to. It also looked a little wentletrappy. Oh, isn't that pretty? So the variable coquinas. Now, one of the reasons they think that they're variable is also to confuse the birds. And so it's not like the birds will like, they're all going to be one color. And so the birds just show up and start snacking on them. It might be part of them trying to give them more camouflage. A lettered olive. Not sure if that passes the shine test, but yay, a seashell. Okay. Sunray Venus clam. Delightful. Yeah, that's a swell, one of our fancy clams. That is awesome. So that is a Sunray Venus clam. All right, I want to find a good wentletrappy kind of spot. So I'm going to meander up the beach, but I'm going to be quiet and let you enjoy some beach time. All right, that did not really pan out. So I am going to turn back from whence I came. And I did find that one wentletrap up there. So I'm going to keep looking. Okay, a bubble. So there's a striate bubble. Those are also something that tend to accompany those little white beauties. So that's a good sign. Yeah, that is a fly speck seraph. I also call that an imposter because it has the same shape as a wentletrap, but it's not. You can clearly see it doesn't have the blades, like it has little bumps, whereas the wentletrap shown right here, those have like more blades on them. I just think it's really fun to find them. So I'm yay. I'm not going to go home empty-handed. I'm making sure it's empty. Yeah. Apparently the wentletrap, they do have an operculum, but the operculum will be different depending on the species. Now, fun fact, this is dark, but this is also not alive. So this is deceased, completely safe to take. I think I'm going to be a little snarky and I'm going to film some of this and post it over on Facebook, and people will completely lose their minds because they apparently don't know that just because it's dark doesn't mean it's not alive. So that is a perfectly safe to collect sand dollar. And garbage. Yep, I'm going to take that off the beach as well. Maybe glow stick kind of thing. I don't know. Who cares? We get it off the beach. I love this time of the evening at the beach. It starts getting like the golden hour is going to be, well, it's coming soon. Oh, so the sun is kind of not baking the crud out of me, and this is looking like I'm going to be looking for little tiny white triangles. That is what is in store for me right now. And, okay, decisive. Be very decisive. There you go. Oh, that one's pretty. Lovely. I want to say that's ungulate. I think that's one of the more common ones down here, the ungulate wentletrap. And that, okay. I think that looks the same to me. Oh, yep. I think I can literally find them like all day long and I would never get tired of it. Love looking for those little white shells. Oh, here's another one. This is hinged. This is a sunray Venus clam. And this I thought would be perfect. I'm going to bleach half of this. So I'm going to unhinge it. And I'm going to bleach half. So we can just look and see what happens. It turns like this pretty pink color. We'll check back in with that at the end of the video. So I will admit it was about this time that I was really questioning my desire to be a beachcomber, especially in summer. Like, I should just take August off or maybe September. Nah, I got a good feeling about September. So the storms have pretty much gone away. I certainly don't have competition. And, all right, nope, imposter. That's okay. I still managed to get it, so I think it's important. You find the shell, and as long as you're able to kind of snag it, that still counts as at least practice. So, yep, these are the conditions that I can find the shells in. Maybe there's other conditions, you know, like on the dry sand. I just have not been entirely successful. So, Bowditch, you made me work for it, but at least I managed to find a couple of seashells. Thank you. And as I was leaving, I found these pieces of balloons. Oh my gosh, it was driving me up a wall. Yeah, so I stayed there for a couple minutes and just picked up all the pieces. It was like someone came here and then just popped them. Why? And as I was leaving, I also saw some of our rabbits. I don't know if you guys know that we have marsh rabbits as well as eastern cottontail rabbits. So those, I'm not sure what kind those were. This is an eastern cottontail that I saw on my morning walk this morning. Adorable little thing. They have much bigger ears. The marsh rabbits they just got wee little ears, but the eastern cottontails a little bit bigger. So we have rabbits all over the place down here. Look, on Sanibel, they even have a road named Rabbit Road. So that is going to wrap up our little tour of Bowditch. Yeah, I kind of found different things. I found a lot of garbage, so I made sure to get that off the beach. 2.4 ounces, but that means in total I have removed a little over 74 pounds of garbage from our beaches. So, so here's the Sunray Venus clams, and there was a broad rib cardita, some nacre, which I was very happy with. There was an apple murex, a kitten paw. There is a limpet, the sand dollar, which look how light it got. There's a bubble, an auger, and some of those tiny little dwarf olives along with the rose petal talents. Now the coquinas and their lovely colors. So yeah, you know, considering there wasn't much else there, I grabbed some of them. And then I did get 5 wentletraps. So it was not a complete bust. It wasn't necessarily as different as I was hoping. I really was hoping for some of the smaller specimens that I don't normally get to see. So back to the Sunray Venus clams. So I am going to bleach half of those just to kind of show you what the bleach does to the shell, or actually the periostracum. So I bleached obviously the one on the right here, and then the one on the bottom, and the bleach removes the periostracum. It does it great on the fighting conchs, but on the Sunray Venus clams, they're actually a very pink shell, and once you put it in bleach, you can really kind of see the shell, the periostracum is removed. And isn't that weird, the way that the black color underneath, it's actually more of like a maroon, kind of, sorta. So I do bleach a lot of my Sunray Venus clams. I like the way they look. They usually come out so shiny, and they're that beautiful muted pink color. Yeah, so those are really terrific. And you know what else I think is terrific are my Patreons. Actually, I think all of you are terrific. But I do have a little bit of extra love for my Patreons because they monetarily support me. And honestly, just like every shell has a story, every bit of support tells me I'm right where I need to be. So thank you. You are the treasures that I carry home every week. Next week, we're heading to Keewaydin. And I'm going to leave it at that. It's quite an adventure. So until then, I hope you have a really great week, and I'll see you again next Sunday.